Hello, people. It's good to be back. Wi-Fi is in full force. I'm feeling good. To you listening, I know who you are. I hope you're doing well. There's 11 of you in currently. Please share, please like, please comment, and get involved with the chat today, because tonight we've got a little bit of an interesting stream. There's been some things that have happened recently that haven't been so positive, but there's also some things that have been positive. And we're going to talk about a lot today. Now, I know this is a Brentford preview, so we're going to talk about that game in a lot of depth. But before I do that, I kind of want to talk about a few little things. Biancone, he'll be out for the rest of the season. He's got an ACL injury that he got in training earlier this week. And I know I've seen some questions asking, how on earth do you get an ACL injury in training? It can literally happen at any time. And training is not just doing a 1-2 with your buddy that plays for the same team. It's an intensive part of a footballer's life and something that they do on a daily basis. So the risk of injury in training is really, really high. And unfortunately on this one, it's caught Biancone at the worst time, really, where there's a possibility in a couple of weeks where he could have actually been used and been utilised pretty well. Obviously, Nico Williams is a yellow card off a suspension. So that's coming up at some point. Renan Loddy's obviously on the left back, but that means you've only got, really, if Williams is out, you've only got Loddy on the left and Aurier on the right. So it's left a couple of gaps that we didn't want. But perhaps actually it could open the door for Jack Colback coming back. Now, let me know how you feel about that. But, we'll have to wait and see. Whenever he's played, he hasn't been awful. And I will admit, I've been very sceptical about playing him. I wouldn't have him first team. But Cooper definitely trusts him. It's just whether he can do it in the Premier League, the kind of capacity and intensity that we need him to. But people, let me know. Do you think Jack Colback could eventually come back into the squad? I mean, he's definitely a backup at the moment. So having a look. Tim, good evening. I'll be picking up that shirt tomorrow, my friend. So thank you for that. Honestly, you're a legend. I'm going for a walk early in the morning with my friend. If you're listening, hope you're well. So that'd be good. Daryl, good evening. Rad Dad, I hope to see you tomorrow. And me and Dave will have our usual slot on the Rad show, I think. Pat McLaughlin, hope you're well. Tim, again, hi. I don't know about Jesse Lingard leaving. I've not heard anything regarding this. There's a lot going around at the moment regarding Jesse Lingard. I've not heard that he's leaving. Obviously, at that time he'll be on 6-month contract. So whether he leaves in January, I don't really know. Steve Cooper said he's working his hardest to get into form with Forest, and although he's been in bad form, and I'm not defending him, but I'm just saying I do believe that he does really want to do well for Forest, and I do believe that he does have he does care for Forest. I think he's a loyal player. He was at United for however many years, and obviously he went to West Ham, of course, but I don't believe he's an unloyal person, and I don't. Obviously, he has no allegiance to Forest, but I do think he wants to find form with Forest, because really, this is, I would say, probably his last chance to do it in the Premier League, unless West Ham really wanted to give him that chance. But at 30 years old, you're probably not going to get that. So no, I don't see him leaving, but he does have to turn a corner, and if Forest go down, I really doubt he'll stay. Lee, yeah, all well over here, my friend. I've just finished work, so I'm a little bit tired, but I'm feeling good, ready for tomorrow. I've got to be up early. And just like Gary Marriott, I don't know if you're listening, but Dora and Des will know, I will have to be ironing my stuff as well for tomorrow. So tired, but ready to iron after this. Dor, hope you're well, my friend. Hope you're well. Chris, good to see you. Hey, I'm not a cheat, actually. I'll defend myself on that. I know someone that knows Carl Jenkinson, and they mentioned some of the Forest players that are in that A-League side, and I just went back to that chat. So I don't know if that's cheating, really. It might be. I kind of already knew it, but yeah, come on. Be nice. ACD Burnout, I think I saw you 2 days ago, but didn't want to say hi in case it wasn't. ACD Burnout, where did you see me? Tell me where you saw me. Yeah, let me know. Let me know in the chat where you saw me. Block Do Daily. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to block the dodgy Doors dating sites. Dodgy Doors dating sites. Yeah. Or Doors dodgy dating sites. Don't know. If you ever need proper knowledge, Jay, you know where I am. It's no Door. Des, sorry, you are the fountain of all knowledge. But because these quizzes are brilliant. I think we need to do more of these quizzes. So Dor, Des, everybody, get these quizzes. I want to see more of these quizzes. They're awesome. Yeah, not that I know a lot of them, especially the ones that are like from the 90s. I mean, you're asking me, I just have no idea. But yeah, Gary Bottles, what a player, Dor. Gary Bottles, what a player. Dunkirk, you would have seen me then because I go to sixth form over the road. So yeah, you would have seen me around. Are you a student or? Yeah, you might have seen me around there. Nice. That's very nice. I was probably on my way to the shop to go and get some. I get chocolate milk. In fact, I'm not going to say this because that would have been Alan Partridge. But anyway, shops. So guys, anyway, Biancone's out for the season, minimum. Or maximum potentially. Obviously, I don't know. I don't think there's any magic sponge when it comes to an ACL injury. You certainly can't rush those back because they can be not all the time, but obviously we saw it. I think Van Dijk had an ACL problem, didn't he? But there's been so many players. I mean, even friends of mine that have had ACL injuries that have altered their career and certainly their form. It will certainly knock his form a little bit, but it's gutting. It really is gutting for it, and I do really feel for him, Julian Biancone, because I really did think he was a player with promise that was actually going to make an appearance in the squad at some point very soon. But that's football. These things do happen, and unfortunately, this thing happened on a time when probably the worst. Obviously you've got the World Cup coming up, so there's time for players like Richards to come back, which I think he will. From what I know, it's likely to be after the World Cup that he comes back, which is nice. But obviously, when it comes to Niakate, I really don't know. I would say Niakate has had the hamstring injury against West Ham. He should have come off as soon as he had it. But when he stayed on, he's aggravated the injury further. He was back in training for a little bit with, I don't know if it's Senegal. I can't remember the country that he plays for nationality-wise. And then he was obviously pictured in crutches. So something's drastically changed with Niakate there. And I would say he's had surgery on it. Steve Cooper said in a press conference recently, it's not been a straightforward injury. So not one that you just get, rest for a week, do a bit of recovery, and then you're back within 2 weeks. It's something that has been a bit of a challenge and had its ups and downs. And unfortunately, at the moment, it's on a down. So whether he'll be back straight after the World Cup, I don't know. But it's one of them injuries where it could be January, it could be February. You just don't know. So hopefully Niakate will be back. I think he's an integral part of our defence, but we'll have to wait and see. As for Omar Richards, I can definitely see him featuring after Christmas. What that means for Ren and Loddy, though, I really don't know. With Biancone not here, the depth in that position is a little bit lacking. So I suppose he would have to be there. Gary Bottles, yeah, trust me, this is what Dor's saying. Chris, ACL is 9 months, exactly, yeah. So it's really devastating. It's really, I mean, that's him out for the rest of the season, as we say. So potentially, I mean, if it's 9 months, you're looking at not the start of next season, but pre-season potentially. So it's devastating. It really is devastating. But yeah, and also I will just say, Forest aren't relegated yet, so I don't know what all the I don't understand. Forest are relegated! Exclamation mark! Forest are relegated! They're going down. Listen, I just want to say on this actually, if Forest do go down, that is football. That is ultimately what could happen. Enjoy this ride, okay? There's no guarantee we're going to go back up. No guarantee at all. Teams like QPR, all the teams like that haven't gone back up. They could go back up next year, though. I think they've got a good chance. Michael Beale is a very good manager, and I rate him highly. But I will just say, Forest aren't relegated yet. Forest aren't relegated. And I just fully refuse to even use that as a headline. So Forest aren't relegated. We're not even in December yet. Obviously, we're not going to get to that point because of the World Cup. The first Wales game, for anybody interested, 22nd, I believe. So, Gymru. Diolch. I need to learn a bit more Welsh, I think. I'm saying the same words. But Forest aren't relegated yet. So, get behind your team. These two Premier League games will be pivotal. Brentford tomorrow really is a must-win game. Obviously, as Sonny Reed says, Brentford's away form isn't brilliant. And so we do have to, we do really have to be getting points from these games. And really, I would really like to see 3 points from one of these games minimum. I mean, you really need it from the two, 3 each from the two. So it's going to be really tough, and it's going to be a test that I think, if we'd not lost those games at Fulham and Bournemouth, we wouldn't be worrying as much now. We'd perhaps be top of the bottom 3, or maybe, kind of just outside, but we're not in that position. I mean, you can't change that. That's football. That's life. So we've just got to make sure that these 2 games are the best. And to be honest, I just want to say on Arsenal, because I didn't do a massive thing on Arsenal. If people are saying that we're relegated after that Arsenal game, but are saying we're staying up after the Brighton and Liverpool games, that is crazy. That is crazy. For anybody that's saying we're relegated because of that Arsenal game, I just think that's ridiculous. Personally, I think that's crazy. You can't go from being all up the players' arse, the manager's arse, and, not all their arse, but kind of, you can't go from being Forest is staying up, this is brilliant football, Ryan Yates is a class midfielder, the best midfielder in that squad, to get him out, he's crap, send him to County on loan again, he'd be a great midfielder in the Championship. Come on, one bad game against a team that is doing fantastically at the moment, Arsenal. They've got brilliant players. They put out the right team to expose Forest, and their team just counteracted our team perfectly. That's how you win a game of football. The way that we lost hurt a lot. 5-0 hurt a lot, and we shouldn't have lost in the way we did. And there was a couple of things that we could have done to change that. But pinning the blame on players like Renan Loddy, Ryan Yates, Steve Cook, that isn't the way forward. A team's 11 players. Everyone's to blame if a goal goes in. Everyone. So, yeah, I think that we shouldn't let that game define the rest of our season. And also recent form. You've got the draw against Aston Villa, not a great loss against, obviously, a game against Wolves. You lost 1-0. You've beat Liverpool. You've drawn against Brighton. Obviously, you lost against Arsenal. But I just think that it's so early in the season to even be saying Forest are relegated. Give up hope. Seriously, we're not relegated. And for me, even if we don't stay up, I've enjoyed this journey so far. We've got months left, but I don't even want to think about this. We need to start thinking as a fan base, one game at a time. Because at the moment, what people are doing is they're getting out the whole Premier League calendar and they're essentially going, right, that's a win. That's a loss. That's a loss. That's a definite loss. Loss, win. Right, okay, we're relegated by my calculations. Your calculations means nothing. It's about who turns up best on the day. That's how it is. Realistically, City could come to the City ground and lose 3-1. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's whoever plays on the day. Whoever plays best on the day. We've seen Crystal Palace catch City out many times. It's their bogey team. Anything can happen. But we've got to make sure that we make we really just go by it one game at a time and keep getting behind the lads, And I just want to say, I think Ryan Yates is brilliant. But I don't know how you all feel about this. And let me know your thoughts, because this might be controversial, but I have no intention for it to be controversial. I don't believe, if I would say Ryan Yates, like technical ability in terms of your skill and all this, I would say Ryan Yates is not one of the best with technical ability in our squad. I don't think he is. But by the way, that's not a criticism of Ryan Yates, because this thing I'm about to say counteracts that big time. I think Ryan Yates could be one of the least technically able players in that squad, but he gives his all every week. He gets stuck in. He does the job he needs to do. He does the simple things well, which is why when we're in good games and we're using our midfield correctly, we're getting into good space. He exposes defenders, puts a lot of pressure on them to the point where they have to make mistakes. And for me, I think that Ryan Yates is a fantastic player because of his work rate and his work ethic. And that for me shows that you don't have to be the most technically able player that can just dribble past, players for days to come and, just completely speed past players. You put the right pressure on, you're getting in for tackles where nobody else dares to go, and you've got a fantastic level of fitness where you can go for the full 90 minutes. for me, that is why Ryan Yates is such a special player to this team, because I don't believe he adds any more technical ability than most players in that team. But he adds that drive. He adds that, as I say, the work ethic. And I think that irradiates onto other players. And okay, we didn't see that at Arsenal. And Arsenal wasn't his most amazing game. I'm not disputing that. I didn't get to watch the game, unfortunately. But from what I heard on the radio, it wasn't anybody's best game. But we do have to, I would say, realise that Ryan Yates is just a workhorse. He's an absolute workhorse. And whether his ability, is the greatest or anything, doesn't matter, because he puts in the work every time and he puts a shift in. That's how I see it. It was disappointing the way we went out against Arsenal. But, actually in recent form, since Cooper signed his contract, Forest have actually been a very, very hard to beat side. Arsenal beat us pretty easily. That happened. I'm not disputing that. But I think that I personally think that we'll be okay tomorrow, and I think we'll see something like we saw against Brighton and Liverpool. And people questioning Morgan Gibbs-White as well. I really rate him. I think he's brilliant on the ball. And obviously he had a tough game against Arsenal as well. But this is football. Players do have bad games. Players have games where they struggle and they're a bit under pressure. And against a team like Arsenal, you're thinking of that FA Cup game, thinking, "Oh, let's just go and do it all again." But it's a different Arsenal, completely different Arsenal. Not to take away from what we did in the Cup, by the way, because that was a phenomenal run and I'm so happy. Talking about these injuries to new players begs the question, was due diligence done or was it the scattergun approach? It's a good question. Obviously, it really is. Yeah, it's a good question. I do believe that Bianconi is a good player and he's not injury prone from what I've seen. He's a young guy as well. And he's played a lot of games in France already in his career. So, no, I believe that he's. I would say the scattergun approach is starting to show in some places. And I think there'll be quite a few outgoings in January. I will say that, even by some players that might shot you. But we'll have to wait and see. But, Forest have got to recover a bit of money. But at the same time, though, Filippo Giraldi is going to be looking to spend a bit of money in January. We already know that Gustavo Scarpa's a name. And there's a young guy from Sao Paulo as well that we were looking at, or it was Athletic Mineiro. It was another team, and Fulham are also interested. So it's really, really difficult to say at the moment. To be fair, we'll run out of home games that we could conceivably win because we're not getting anything from home, etc. Yeah, we do have to start winning more away as well. And our away record is poor as well. We've got to start winning games just all over the board. So this is really, really difficult. It's a hard time to be a Forest fan, but the true Forest fans stick with the team. And if you like, kind of support to the final whistle and don't just say they're relegated. James, good to see you, my friend. I do hope so. I'm not going to say it is. I think we shouldn't become complacent and just expect 3 points to land in our lap, because I don't think we're in a position to say or to even deserve to say that we're just going to go out there tomorrow and beat Thomas Frank's Brentford side and that's it, take the 3 points. Because the times we've said that, we haven't. So I would like to. I do believe it's entirely possible. But obviously, depends how the boys show up on the day. And I've got all the faith in the boys doing well. And I wish them all the best. I think it'll be fantastic. And I'm hoping to meet a couple of them, if I can, tomorrow. Would be nice. So fingers crossed. But we'll wait and see. Tim Shipman, Radad, I hope you're doing good, guys. People questioning Ryan Yates' ability, don't understand football. He's more than work ethic. He's been labelled by Roy Keane. Yeah, and do you know what, actually? I've already said on multiple occasions, earlier this season, post-Everton game even, when he came on for Mangala and he was brilliant, I wouldn't have had him in my midfield. And I will just say that, I do regret saying that, because I really do think he's a brilliant player. And he's a really nice guy as well. I've had the opportunity to speak to him on a couple of occasions, not in much length, but to be able to greet and just ask how he is. And he's a really nice guy. He's always got time for Forest fans. He really does bleed red. And I think he's a really important person just to have at the club. I think he's the example of what Forest should be about. Him and Worrell, they're like that. Worrell's gone a bit off the radar, and I feel for him a bit because, I think it was always a collective issue. And he had his own struggles. But I think he'll come back stronger. And I think, having him, a bit of time to rest and make the odd 20-minute appearance is probably going to help him in the long run. I do just feel for him a bit. Seeing him on the bench every week is, it's sad. But, you've got players like Steve Cook and Scott McKenna, who, by the way, I still think are very, very good players. As we know, they didn't have the greatest game against Arsenal, but how on earth can you tell me that Scott McKenna, isn't good enough for the Premier League? I think he's brilliant. Steve Cook is great. He's not the most fast of players, but I would say other than that Arsenal game, I think he's been superb. And the Liverpool game, he was the sponsors man of the match, and in my opinion, I think that Steve Cook has been brilliant. And people have turned on him so quickly. And, he almost got an assist, didn't he, at Liverpool when he made that brilliant cross out of nowhere for a centre-back as well. So I just think that, the criticism that's laid on some players can be unfair and a bit harsh at times. And I'm not saying that we should just say that they're a great player for the rest of the season and that they're in brilliant form. I'm not saying that, because players do come and fall out of form. I'm not disputing it. But at the same time, I do believe that Scott McKenna deserves the right to be called a very good defender. And I do think people can sometimes be a bit harsh on him personally because of one bad game. And I think this is the issue. I think that some people in the fan base are actually, they're defining Forest season off, the Arsenal game. We should look at recent form and say, if we can carry this on and we can pick up a point, the odd 3 points, and just keep picking up points in some form, and we will eventually get out of that bottom three and, and hopefully solidify ourselves in our smaller league that we've got, at the lower end of the table. So that's what we've got to do. But it was never going to be easy. Never going to be easy. And the boys know this as well. So we just got to keep fingers crossed and keep supporting them. I reckon we'll get Marcelo on loan. It would be interesting to see. I don't know how I feel about that. I think he's a good player. The age is obviously a bit of a concern. He's old now, and I think he's probably past his best. Very good player. But maybe it's not an awful shout, that, Tom. For me, Gibbs White can't work with Jay Lings. No hate for Jesse, because I don't think that there's that chemistry, that link up there. I think that Morgan Gibbs White puts Jesse in a lot of positions where I think he could have scored a couple. But his confidence is lacking. Jesse's confidence is lacking so much, and I know people say, every week, but we pay him 80,000. What are we paying him 80,000 for? It's a bloody joke. And I can't believe we're paying this man all this money and get me on the bloody pitch. I do this and this. And it's like, well, this is football. And when you've had that much time away from it because of what happened at Man United, it's bound to knock your confidence. And in my opinion, I do believe that Jesse Lingard is a signing that I would have liked to have seen in the summer, and glad we made it. Looking now, I would have been like, it's a bit gutting. He's not been very good. 9 or so starts and still not, still not really doing a lot. I do believe there's a good Jesse Lingard in there, but how long do we have to bring that out of him? Unfortunately, I don't know. But I can't see him being in football for a hell of a lot longer in terms of playing. I would give it 2 years, if that. Look, you've got no choice but to change the team every week, to be honest. I mean, you've got players coming back that, and this is it. I always refer back to what Darren Fletcher said about having a completely different set of characters in the midfield. You got to change them around all the time, and that can alter the way that the team plays. And it's really difficult because a lot of teams just have kind of midfielders that are very similar in their playing styles, but we have completely different in every aspect. I do believe he's lacking confidence, because there's a difference between lacking confidence in a social aspect. Because when I go out and play football on a Saturday, I feel nervous. But if I go and speak to a group of people for a conference or a speaking session or a meeting, I'm full of confidence. I'm buzzing. I'm ready to go. People are, there's a lot less pressure doing TikTok than there is football. TikTok sensation or not as well, you can still have low confidence when it comes to playing football. In fact, I would say it would probably add to the pressure of him playing better at football. You can have all the confidence on the app, but as soon as it comes to being on the pitch, it's really difficult. So I do believe that Jesse Lingard is lacking confidence. TikTok or social media star, regardless, I think he's lacking confidence. And it's now a question of whether can Forest bring this out of him? If so, when can they bring it out of him? How quickly? And yeah, is this a job for Forest to bring it out of him? We'll find out when his contract expires or he leaves in January, which I don't think he will, but there's always the possibility. Nothing is ever ruled out in football. So do you think we'll survive in the Premier League? I'm going to say yes. Still going for 15th, which is ambitious even now. Looking at it, 5 places up would be really nice. I'm still saying 15th, but it will be really difficult. I think that the left back situation or the right back situation with an injury or a couple of cards could really, really knacker the team and could be devastating with Biancone being out. So it's not a nice position to be in, but after the World Cup, it will look a little bit sweeter, I think, in those areas. So 32 of you in at the moment. I know it's a bit quiet tonight because it is obviously late. And I'm going to be ending the stream in 10 minutes. So I do appreciate you all joining. It's a bit of a late one. But, I just want to thank you all for joining. I know it is really, really late. And I do apologize. Work commitments have had me. And I also had a Chinese as well. So more brave him wearing those flip-flops down the street than facing the fans. Look, and this is another thing I like about Jesse as well. There's been times where, if I'm walking to the rugby, because I sometimes go to the rugby club after the game with my dad, or I go to the Lady Bay, you'll see him in his car coming back, and you'll quickly window down, Jesse, hello. You see people doing it all the time, and he always has time for the fans. So, look, I understand the criticism. He hasn't played well, but it's a confidence thing, and I think we've seen that in a lot of players. And I wouldn't have any problem in putting Johnson on. Look, people used him as a scapegoat. I think Johnson's a really good player. If he's getting the distribution that we've been getting recently in games, I think it'll be fantastic. And it's just really unfortunate that that he didn't score that goal against Liverpool, because if he did, that would have been a huge confidence booster. 2-0 against Liverpool would have been a nicer scoreline. But this is it. This is what happens sometimes. But yeah, I'd love to see him come back at some point. Door, stop it. You'll make me. I'll cry on stream. I will cry on stream. I will, Door. Evening, Ez. Hope you're doing good. James, legend. Like and subscribe, people. I know it's quiet, and it's going to be tonight. But yeah. I'm at the FCA Awards as well in a couple of weeks, so I'm really looking forward to that. I've got a new suit to wear. Pardon me. I've got a new suit to wear, so I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know if I'm going to win anything. Obviously, your support has been brilliant. I'm against some really, really big names in the football content world, so we can only hope and pray, can't we? But we'll see. Sonny, hope he doesn't drive his car in then. That's genuinely dangerous. No control of the clutch. Yeah, same. I hope he doesn't. Yeah, I'm actually I'm a learner driver now, so I know all these fancy words and I know what the biting point is. There you go. I'm actually quite an experienced learner driver at the moment, so who knows when my test is going to be. We'll see. You remember us signing Cole and Ernie? Was Cole lacking confidence or taking the mick? I don't think I do remember this, to be honest, Tim. That might be before my time. I do apologise. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe I've made myself look a bit of a fool there. Maybe I've made myself look like a bit of a fool. I hope I haven't. Having a look. I think this is something that was on the cards, actually, Dora. I think it's a really good idea. Would you all like to see that? That's the question. If you do want to see it, let me know. Should I do a vlog at the Football Content Awards? Should I? We can see what names we can get to come on the vlog with me. Maybe we'll get Door's best friends Thogden to come and give his thoughts about Forest, which I know that he's been very vocal about. Sometimes not brilliant, but hey, people. I'm going to call it a night in a minute. It's been absolutely awesome. I've not got my Forest shirt, and I won't have it tomorrow because I was thinking of wearing my Labatt shirt. I can't get the name. I can't get the year of it. I need to find the year of it. Really. So I'll put out a picture on my YouTube. So stay on my YouTube community, I think it's called. And I'll post a picture of the Labatt shirt. It's got 2 black stripes on just underneath the shoulder bit. You might know what year it is. But I'll send it on there. And if anybody can guess the year, then you're a ledge. But anyway, starting 11s for tomorrow. This is Chris's. Henderson, Aurier, Cook, McKenna, Williams, O'Brien, Yates, Freuler, Morgan Gibbs White, Awani, Dennis. I wouldn't mind that, actually. I think Kouyaté is good, but I think giving him a rest is important. Because, pardon me, it's this Chinese. That Liverpool game definitely tired him out, and he was gone by the 60. So, yeah, I think give him a rest. It'd be nice to see Lewis O'Brien back in as well. Really do rate the lad. So good to see him back after injury. Just hope that he can, have a massive impact and maybe get a goal as well. Who knows? That'd be really, really nice. We'll have to wait and see. Eve, I'll do a vlog at the FCA. So thank you. 94 out of 95 for you. Oh, love it. Thank you. My team for tomorrow, I'm going to go the same as Chris. But I'm going to make one change. I'm going to put Morgan Gibbs White on the left, and I'm going to put Johnson on the right for me. So fingers crossed. We'll wait and see. 3rd in the Premier League in that shirt. Oh, I see. Was that Frank Clark days? If I'm not mistaken. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the Frank Clark days, wasn't it? I remember meeting him outside of County. What a legend. Oh, you mean 94 to 95? Oh, yeah, clocked it now. Clocked it. Well, listen, guys, it's been a pleasure. That's all from me. If you're listening tomorrow, Glyn, if you're listening before doing driving lessons, because I know you do, super early in the morning, you're a legend, and I hope you stay well. And I'll see you on Tuesday. I knew it was Frank Clark. I thought it was. Look at me. I'm an oldie at heart. Dor, you're a legend. We'll catch up tomorrow. I'm actually going to be at the boot room quite early in the morning, maybe 11 or at latest 12. I've got to go and pick up a shirt. So if any of you want to have a quick chat about the football and catch me before I've got to settle my kit up, feel free. I've not got the big boss with me tomorrow, so I've got a bit more free roam tomorrow. That being said, I've got a lot of work to do tonight, actually. So yeah, it's going to be a late one for me, but never mind. Don't let it be a late one for you. Get some rest, everybody. Thank you for joining. Take care. Have a brilliant night. And I'll be seeing you all tomorrow. Cheers, guys. Goodbye.